Hey guys, GM. Apologize. Had some technical difficulties earlier. Had to shut everything down. I was ready way early and had to literally shut everything down to start everything again. I was really glitchy. I tried to listen to it. Wasn't working on X. I still don't know if it's working on X, but either way, it was working on YouTube, but it was very glitchy. So if it doesn't, still doesn't look like it's working on X right now, but that's okay. We'll continue on, kind of salvage what we have left of the show. I like to be started 35 minutes ago, but learned a lesson that I just need to. Yeah, still doesn't look like I'm seeing it over on X, but anyway, none of my windows are up, so we'll just kind of have to wing it here. Kind of a bummer I'm not seeing it on X, but I think it. Let me check YouTube just to make sure. I'm sure it's over there. Like I said, I need to restart my computer so the cache can get cleared and everything before I set everything up. So we're just going to kind of wing it, get a few minutes here, talk about the market, see where we're at, and we'll go with there, kind of try and salvage what we can. So not ideal, but it is what it is. So let me just make sure it's working good over on YouTube, and then I'm not going to, guess I can't worry about X right now if it's not going to catch it. It has been very, very glitchy over there for some reason. Don't know whose fault it is, but I feel like the stream's working faster now. So we'll talk about some of the news, whether we have a slide or not. Yeah, it does look like we're live over on YouTube. So that'll have to do. GM. Like I say, better late than never, I guess. Let's take a look at the markets. First off, let's look at the traditional markets. We are unfortunately 7 minutes past the close rather than 30 minutes before, but so I want to go to their finance page. There we go. Just kind of see how the markets. They were looking to all open up. So hey, let's just take a look here. Shrink the page down just a little so I can see this. Okay, NASDAQ up 0.12. Let's take a look at the S&P. So open green, not as green as it was looking, to be honest with you. But 0.2 on the NASDAQ. I'm not going to check the Dow because we are short on time. Let's go see what's happening in crypto land. Bitcoin 67,065, down 1.5% for the day. I was hoping we were going to get a little pop at the opening. Doesn't look like we really did. It's okay. Let's just see if we dump here in the next hour or so or not. We started the morning at 68,000. We're about 67.5 when I first got up, and looks like we're kind of bleeding down. And it looks like the traditional market didn't open as high. Now we'll just see if we have that. Unfortunately, what they're now calling the American dump here. Check one more time on YouTube just to make sure we're not. Oh, there we are. Excuse me, Twitter. Looks like we're working there. I'm really hoping it'll save over there too. Yeah, it looks like it's working good there. I see some people there. GM, everybody. Had a little problem. I got to restart my computer before I load up the show. Didn't do that this morning. Tried to make it work, and it was very glitchy. So apologize. I would have been here 40 minutes ago, but we're going to try and salvage a little bit of the show anyway, at least talk a little bit. And we'll be back tomorrow, hopefully at 9 a.m. Eastern time is my goal with the opening bell crypto. And like I said, I've been here for 15 years. I've been in tradition, bought my first stock when I was in first grade. So been around a while. Hopefully I do my full-time job is a fund manager. So I do keep up pretty much. Guess I was up at 3 a.m. my time today. So that's 4 hours ago. And I usually find out the news. Hopefully I can save you a little time, give you a little insight. Feel free to hit me up on chat there if you want to comment, say hello, ask any questions, anything like that. In the future, we'll probably save the last 10 or 15 minutes of the show for Q&A every day. But when we build up a bigger audience, hopefully Twitter will actually, or X will actually save this. It hasn't been. And so since it hasn't been, I have been going in and posting the YouTube link. So at least you can watch it. But welcome if you're live. Hopefully it'll save. If not, still glad to see you here. My home is over on X. I've been there for over 10 years, and I've been doing a show for 4 years, the GM Bitcoin Morning Show, which is a space which comes up at the top of the hour at 10 a.m. Eastern time to 11. So feel free to join me over there too. We'll probably cover a little more since we have a shortened show today. But so Bitcoin down 0.6, even worse since the market opened. Ethereum holding on to 2,000, not down as much, down 0.3, 0.6. XRP up 1.8 today, 146. So that's actually performing a little better, though it has dropped a little with the market. BNB, theoretically the number two layer one, though it's not used as much here in the United States. We're sitting at 611.11, flat for the day, down 0.4. Solana 82.46. We were about 85 this morning, so down a little bit, down 1.5 for the day, 0.4. So not a great day, kind of a little bit lackluster. Yeah, now I'm going to see if I can, I'm going to see, like I say, we're kind of winging it at this stage because none of my slides are pulled up. I'm just going to kind of come here and maybe see if I can pull up some of the major stories I wanted to talk about on X here. So this may be a little clunky, but it is what it is. So this is that woke ice skater who was kind of bashing America for LGBT stuff, which, listen, good to speak your mind. I think all of them, though, when you're representing a country rather, I think it's best to not do, quite so much. I think it's better to not do quite so much controversy. And then, you get extra pressure. I posted, I guess, maybe kind of a little mean video about her. Might have been a little too mean. I'll show you, see what you think. Right here. Here's my little video. USA doesn't suck, I do. So probably a little mean, but, tough breaker karma. I get it. I think people should be able to speak their mind. However, when you're representing a country, I think it's better to, kind of keep maybe stuff to your, keep stuff to yourself. You're there to represent a country, and bad mouthing your country on the world stage isn't necessarily, the best look. Sorry, I'm got my screen blocking some stuff. Hold on, let me redo my screen here. Hold on 1 second. Okay, sorry about that. Let's go back here. My screen was blocking everything, so wanted to kind of redo it a little bit. My computer's a little too high. Work a little bit better. Like I say, kind of wing. I'm supposed to be getting better at these, not worse. I've been doing these for like 3 weeks now. So let's go to one of my favorite sites, Crypto News Hunters. They had a few articles I wanted to talk about today. Like I say, we kind of got to just kind of trying to save the show since my software froze up. I had to restart everything, lost all my slides. But this was big. Saudi-backed artificial intelligence company Humane invests $3 billion into Elon Musk's xAI. So a big nod of approval there for those guys. There are a couple things I was want to talk about. Right here, this is one of the things I was going to end on. Polymarket traders expect U.S. strikes on Iran before March end. 42% in the next, 12 days. Obviously tensions are, U.S. military is building up there. I saw it today. Russia's doing some military drills with Iran in the Straits of Hormuz. Not a good situation. Something we need to be aware of. Could kind of blow up, especially if it happens on a weekend. I'm hoping diplomacy wins there, to be honest with you, is kind of what I'm hoping happens. But just be aware. We got to be aware things like this could tank the market, especially if they happen over a weekend. And crypto is the only thing people can dump, right? So can be a little crazy there. This was another thing I was going to talk about. Crypto sees the biggest outflow since 2022. Money's leaving the market, one of the fastest rates since the last. Yeah, shocking. That's why we are where we are. But also whales, some whales are buying whale wallets. I was watching one of my buddies last night. He broke down all the wallets from, different size whale wallets, from dolphins, whales, sharks, whatever they call them. They're still buying. Smart money's buying. I did a little piece on a few. Anyway, let's go down and see what we have here. Talk about a couple of things I wanted to see if there's any more. Google's it looks like they're putting a big subsea cable in connecting India. So doing a little bit of stuff with them. Here it is. People are seeing it. There's some uncertainty out there that there's, going to be a war. I don't think so. I saw this too, Grant Cardone. I remember when Grant Cardone wasn't bullish on Bitcoin. Been on a lot of spaces with him. His brother, Gary, we follow each other, have been on quite a few spaces together. But I like this. He said, I bought Bitcoin at 69. Now, I realized he didn't get in at like 3,000 like some of us did, or a sub 100 like some of us did. He came in later, but he when he kind of got it, he got it. He was really turned bullish on it. So I appreciate you. Recently reported he's selling his $88 million jet and his house for 700 Bitcoin. And he knows he can buy it back in a few years. Also, he's structuring a lot of his deals. With, putting Bitcoin. So if he raises 500 million, 100 million of that goes into Bitcoin, and they hold it, right? Because in real estate, you tend to hold long term. So anyway, he said, I bought it 69, 76, 82, 88, all the way to 108. Then on the way down, 92, 88, 82, mid 80s, 70s, and 62. So he's buying. He doesn't care. Same here, right? Okay, that's all for those guys. Let me just look at some of the other stuff I wanted to pull up here. Look back at crypto bubbles. Now, this is something I did a piece today on TikTok. World Liberty Fi. World Liberty Fi. I'm getting more bullish. I came in on the IPO or on their launch or whatever, right? And then there was some mess around with there's some messing around going on with Justin Sun and some of his coins and stuff. Kind of tanked it down from like 28 cents to like 18 cents. But anyway, recently it's currently sitting at 12.8, up 27.2%. But I'll tell you why I'm getting bullish on them is first off, they bounced off that 10 cents. So I think it's cheap. I think it's a better pricing right now. But let me just show you what really kind of got me noticing them again, thinking about them and getting to where I was going to start buying them. I did a report on Ripple's yesterday. I did a little thing on TikTok, or the day before, I can't remember. I did a little thing on TikTok, Ripple, so XRP, how their stable coin here is number 46. So it's going up. It broke into the top 50 for the first time in the last couple of days, right? Well, anyway, I looked at that. I thought, oh, that's bullish. Now they're up a few points. But I also looked down here only to see a number 19, USD1. And they're sitting with about, you look here, USD1, that's World Liberty Fi stablecoin. They're sitting on over $5 billion in stablecoin. That's a fair amount of adoption. You got the Trumps, you got the Trump boys, all their connection. We know how connected and how bullish the president and his boys are on crypto, and we know how big stable coins are going to play a part. So at this new valuation, I'm starting to reestablish a position here wholly based on what they're doing with their stable coin. I think they're going to do good things. The big one, obviously, is Tether, USDT, and USDC. I don't know if Tether is going to be fully compliant. They did announce that they're going to make a USA only fully compliant stable coin. So they may not be, at least in the US market, they may not be fully compliant. So we may not see Tether as much on US with US things, but they probably will. But either way, you got Tether, you got USDC, and then number 3 is USD1. So I'm buying it based on that. Okay, that's my play. Oh, you know what? You're not seeing that screen. Sorry, I just showed you all that. Let me replace. The screen didn't follow. I think I just had a tab. Okay, let's get this fixed. Sorry. Okay, here it is. They're USD1 stablecoin. Apologize for that. I was looking at my screen and not the stream here. So anyway, USD1 is number 19, ranked number 19, over $5 billion in stablecoin. Anyway, I said what I said, but that makes me more bullish over here on World Liberty Fi, which you can see is up 26% today. Trump coin up 4.6. Interesting. What's that at? I haven't looked at that for years. 3 billion, I think all-time high, like 30 billion. It's crazy. But was fine until Melania. I was up like 400K until Melania came out a couple of days later and tanked everything. But anyway, I'm getting bullish on World Liberty Fi. I have owned it in the past, and I'm re-adding it onto my I'm re-adding it back into my portfolio. Netherlands is looking to ban Polymarket. It's illegal gambling. That's interesting. Probably all of Europe's going to do that. We see a few states doing it as well. Let me look at this one. I like this. I want to go over to Coin Bureau here. Another one of the great Coin Bureau is a great site. They're one of the biggest YouTube channels. I like these guys. Let's go to Coin Bureau here. Here we go. Let me see if I can find this. That isn't Coin Bureau, is it? There we go. Okay, Coin Bureau. Wanted to show you this with Adam Back talking about, I don't know how long ago this was. There's a thing with Adam Back. We talked about Adam Back, and there's Kalshi, Nevada. They're also coming after Kalshi, one of the other biggest prediction markets. This was interesting. A thing I had on one of my news earlier. Peter Thiel completely exited his position in ETHZilla. So ETHZilla, a really high flying DAT. They were a technology company, switched over to holding Ethereum. He completely exited that position. I think that was something to be concerned about, maybe. 150 billion in fresh liquidity. We're seeing this. We're seeing the Fed inject all this liquidity, whether it's overnight repo markets or however they're doing it. They're not calling it quantitative easing or QE quantitative, but what is it, right? Eventually, some of that trickles down to risk assets. Just wanted to see if I could find this Adam Back. Oh, this was interesting. I want to talk about this. How does the slide earlier? Tether to offer dividends in Tether Gold, the XUAT, which is the biggest physical. We talk about tokenization. We talk about RWA. This is the biggest one right here, where they've got, I don't know what, $3.5 billion assets under management. You can buy it there. It's, when you think about tokenization and all this, you have to worry about, third-party exposure. I was reading in, we talked yesterday about Jake Paul's brother, Logan. Logan sold that Pokemon card, the Pokemon Illustrator, for what, $16.5 million yesterday or a few days ago to Anthony Scaramucci's son, big finance guy out there. Anyway, at one point he had tokenized. You see online that it's 50%, but I think at one point he tokenized 5.1%. But it was through a Canadian like middleman that kind of went out of business. So I don't know where that's going to happen. He tried to keep it open so people could pull out their money. I don't know, but it's not 50%. I believe it's 5%. I remember it back in the day, but anyway, he tokenized. Just suffice it to say, some people he sold at one point a certain amount, or allegedly, and I believe it to be true. At one point, he crowdfunded a little bit of the money to buy that, and then the company went out of business, and now it's kind of a mess. But we'll see what happens, or nothing. Maybe he settles those people, maybe doesn't. My point is, when you bring in that middleman risk, third-party risk, be careful. What I like about Tether is they're putting in a bank in Switzerland, and you can go get the physical gold if you want. So that's really cool. Now, and the piece of news I was actually going to report on today was that there was another company. There's another gold company, like IRL Gold Company, that's offering to pay their dividends out in Tether Gold. I thought that was cool. That was the news I was going to bring to you, but this wasn't this exact from these guys, but it was on there. Obviously, the big news of the day, the huge $1 trillion check from Japan. They're going to bring $550 billion in, $38 billion immediately, a deal that Trump worked out. That stuff's going to have stuff that's going to pay big dividends. You know what? I'm going to type in Adam Back, quantum. Because, we talked about this quantum computing FUD, Mr. Wonderful saying people are holding off buying because of it. Here it is. I guess that was a while ago, November 17. No wonder I couldn't find it. Anyway, we'll leave you on this. We'll take a quick check with the markets. Adam Back, probably not for 20, 40 years. Bitcoin can be quantum ready long before cryptographically relevant quantum arrives. Okay, now let me tell you who Adam Back is. The only man. He's a PhD, I believe, in encryption, right? And he's the only man listed or talked about in the Satoshi white papers. So you don't get any in the 9-page Satoshi white paper. So you don't get a more OG than Adam Back. Okay, that's just a fact. So with him saying that, I think it should put everything to risk. Last, I want to show you one more piece of information I thought was very interesting. Let me find out. Like I say, apologize, kind of a cluster F today. This is it right here. It was our guy, Crypto Rover. Very, very interesting. Here we go. Crypto Rover had this piece. I want to leave you with this. I think it's super relevant, something to really think about. And I'm kind of on board with it. Appreciate your patience today. Like I said, I should be getting better at this, not worse. But anyway, some more stuff about the war, whatever, pending war. Hopefully that gets settled. I don't want to see that. Okay, here it is, right here. I'll leave you guys with this and appreciate your patience. I'll be back tomorrow, hopefully at 9 a.m. sharp. You can join me over on the GM Bitcoin morning show with Enzo and Kev and our guy Joe Domain's page as well. We'll be there along and come up and speak and join us there. But we'll be covering this news and some more. But this is very interesting. A mysterious Hong Kong-based shell company has allocated 100% of its portfolio into BlackRock's IBIT. They quietly acquiring 436 million in Bitcoin exposure. Is this Beijing's stealth way of catching up on it without Bitcoin race without breaking its own crypto ban? I believe it's very, very possible. They treat Hong Kong, it turned back over to China in 95, 94, 96, I can't remember. But I used to go over there quite a bit before that because I lived over there. I lived in Taiwan. I'd go over there quite regularly. Great little country, Hong Kong, now part of China, but they always treat it a little differently. I think this is very possible. Some Chinese person, whether it be him or someone else, just bought almost $500 million worth of Bitcoin. So very possible. I hope Trump does the same thing, to be honest with you. But anyway, appreciate you guys. Happy hump day. Look, we keep dipping. Good chance to buy. My overhead target still 70, then 72, 74. We've got to break, hold above that on the daily or weekly. Then we go higher. I really thought that might happen today. I still think it could happen this week. My target on the low side, 59,000, or my next target low side, 59,000, which of course the 200-week moving average. We rarely break that and we rarely stay below it. Now, could it go down to, the next major Fibonacci at 49, 48? Sure. Anything's possible. I don't think so, but maybe. Either way, that's my up and down targets. This is bullish, though. A lot of headlines. Sorry I couldn't bring them all to you. Thank you for joining me, bearing with me, and we'll see everyone tomorrow. Feel free to jump on Twitter and join me for the GM Bitcoin Morning Show, man. Thank you, guys.